They say the truth doesn't whisper, it waits, and then it explodes. And when this story finally detonates, it doesn't just rattle one name, it shakes the entire industry that protected silence, normalized fear, and buried whispers under money, power, and paperwork. Because this isn't just about emails. It's about pressure, control, and a pattern insiders claim went on far longer than anyone was supposed to know. For years, people rolled their eyes. For years, they said it was exaggeration, attention-seeking, bitterness, drama. And for years, one woman's name kept being dragged through the mud, Aubrey, while the people with power walked untouched. But now, insiders are stepping forward, and suddenly the story flips. Not because opinions changed, but because receipts were mentioned. This entire saga cracked open when a documentary pulled the curtain back just enough for one detail to change everything. Emails, not rumors, not hearsay, emails.
When you was looking at the documentary, I know you said you gotta look at the other parts, but did you see the part where Aubrey she revealed the emails that Diddy was sending her, where he was trying to have relations with her?
That single sentence reframed the narrative. Because emails aren't vibes, emails aren't misunderstandings, emails are trails. And insiders say those messages weren't just flirtation, they were persistent, private, and allegedly sent in ways designed so nobody else could see. Behind closed doors, the tone wasn't playful, it wasn't mutual. And according to someone who claims they already knew what was coming long before the documentary aired, what the public saw was only a fraction of what existed.
I knew. And that was one of the things that I was hinting at. I knew about the pictures, I knew about the response, I knew everything. I knew the whole entire email. So when people used to discuss me, because I'm like, y'all really don't fuck. And people used to be getting on Aubrey, acting like she was making stuff up and this and that. No, that girl really been through a different ordeal than the rest of us with him. And he was really stalking her. And she got proof.
Read that again. I knew everything. He was really stalking her. She got proof. Those aren't casual words. Those are loaded statements. The kind that don't get said unless someone is confident in what they're implying. And suddenly, all the years of mockery aimed at Aubrey start to look less like skepticism and more like a coordinated dismissal. Insiders claim this wasn't a single moment. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was pressure over time. And the most chilling part? The moment people started talking publicly, the response was allegedly immediate and strategic.
And when I had discussed it the first time, he immediately sent out, what's they called? Like NDAs. I don't know who talking to this nigga, but y'all need to sign this. Everybody. I'm talking about, after our interview came out, I'm talking about 3-4 days later.
NDAs, not explanations, not denials, paperwork. According to insiders, the moment conversations drifted too close to the truth, silence was purchased. And not just from one person, from everyone in the orbit. Because when NDAs start flying, the message is clear. This conversation ends now. And here's where the tone darkens. Because insiders say the communication wasn't happening in public spaces. It wasn't happening where accountability lived. It was happening quietly, deliberately, and privately.
I'm sending you emails outside the group so nobody can see. I'm really putting press on you.
Outside the group, away from witnesses, away from protection. Insiders claim this wasn't accidental. It was intentional isolation, a tactic. And when you combine that with the alleged power imbalance, the situation stops looking like messy celebrity drama and starts resembling something far more uncomfortable. Because power changes consent. Power changes consequences. Power changes everything.
So if you're in a position of power, right, and I'm threatening you and I'm telling you you're going to be mine and I'm going to turn you out and I'm going to this and that, I'm sending you emails outside the group so nobody can see. I'm really putting press on you. And if you keep declining me and I'm keep putting press on you and I'm in a position of power, that's like if you go to work, that's like sexual harassment. If I go to work and my boss keep...
This is where the story stops being about celebrities and starts being about systems. Insiders aren't describing romance, they're describing pressure you can't escape. The kind of pressure where saying no doesn't end the situation, it escalates it. And then comes the part insiders say is the most suffocating: financial control.
You got a financial hold over me. And I just feel like I would have sued. There's no other way but to sue. And that's why I feel what Cassie should have did long ago. I can't get away from you. I I can't clean my life up. I can't try to do what's right, because you basically gonna influence all the people around me. You're gonna use all your money to ruin my life.
Read that slowly. Because if that claim is true, walking away was never an option. And when walking away isn't possible, silence becomes survival. Which is why insiders say so many people stayed quiet. Not because nothing happened, but because the cost of speaking was too high. Careers, relationships, safety, reputation, all hanging by a thread controlled by someone with money, influence, and reach. And insiders say Aubrey wasn't alone.
There's so many people, right, that's victims of Puffy that can't speak, that's sitting back like, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they basically saying, you don't even know half of it.
That line changes everything, because now this isn't one story, it's an iceberg. And here's where the audience needs to understand the psychology of power. Insiders claim when someone controls your opportunities, your money, your access, and your future, the pressure doesn't need to be violent to be terrifying. It just needs to be constant. Which is why one moment in the transcript lands like a punch to the chest, because it strips the glamour away completely. No music, no lights, no fame, just a person trying to escape a situation they never asked to be in. And suddenly, all those years of public ridicule aimed at Aubrey feel different. The jokes, the memes, the dismissal. Insiders say while people were laughing, paperwork was being signed. While people were doubting, messages were allegedly being sent. While people were distracted, silence was being enforced. This isn't a courtroom verdict. This isn't a final chapter. But it is a pattern insiders are pointing at, and once you see the pattern, it's hard to unsee it. Emails, isolation, NDAs, power, fear, and the most dangerous part of all, insiders say the story didn't come out because the system wanted it to. It came out because the system failed to keep it buried. And if this much surfaced accidentally, the real question becomes, what didn't? What makes this story truly dangerous isn't just what's been said, it's what people are still refusing to say out loud. Because once the first crack appears, the entire structure starts to show its weak points. And insiders say that's exactly what's happening now. Not a sudden scandal, not a random outrage cycle, but a slow, unavoidable collapse of silence that was maintained for decades. Insiders claim the industry didn't miss the warning signs. They ignored them. Because when you're dealing with someone who controls careers, budgets, visibility, and access, speaking out doesn't just risk backlash, it risks erasure. And insiders say that fear didn't just keep victims quiet, it kept witnesses, associates, and even friends silent too. That's why so many people are now going back and rewatching that documentary with different eyes. Because what once looked like fragmented stories now appears connected by the same invisible thread, power operating without resistance. And here's the uncomfortable truth insiders keep circling back to. When Aubrey was being publicly dismissed, people behind the scenes already knew. That's what makes this revelation so explosive. Because if insiders truly knew everything, as claimed earlier, then the industry didn't fail to notice. It chose to look away. And when the public laughed, insiders say paperwork was already in motion to make sure nothing ever escalated beyond whispers. NDAs weren't a reaction, they were a strategy. According to insiders, NDAs didn't just silence voices, they isolated people from each other, ensuring no one could compare experiences, connect dots, or realize they weren't alone. And isolation is the most powerful weapon in any imbalance of power. Because once you think it's just you, you stop fighting. And that's why insiders say the phrase "you don't even know half of it" matters more than people realize. It implies a backlog of stories, paused, postponed, and buried, waiting for the moment when it becomes safe to speak. But safety doesn't come from courage alone. It comes from timing. And insiders claim the timing is shifting now. Why? Because once one person confirms emails exist, the narrative changes forever. Once stalking is named, pressure becomes identifiable. Once NDAs are acknowledged publicly, silence stops looking voluntary. And then comes the quiet panic. Insiders claim that's why conversations are happening behind closed doors right now. Not about guilt or innocence, but about damage control. About who said what, when, and how much is already on record. Because in an age where receipts resurface and old messages don't disappear, silence no longer guarantees safety. And here's where the story turns inward toward the audience. Because the same culture that dismisses victims is the culture that protects power. The same jokes that go viral are the same tools that make truth sound unbelievable. Insiders say Aubrey didn't need to be attacked directly, she just needed to be discredited casually, over time, until her name carried more mockery than credibility. And it worked. For years. Until it didn't. Because once the conversation shifts from did it happen to why was this allowed, the power dynamic collapses. And insiders say that's the question people are finally starting to ask. Why were private communications allowed to continue unchecked? Why did no one intervene when boundaries were allegedly crossed? Why did NDAs arrive faster than accountability? And most importantly, how many people stayed silent because they thought they were alone? That's the part insiders say keeps them up at night. Because silence doesn't mean consent. And survival doesn't mean approval. And when someone finally describes the situation in simple terms, I couldn't escape, the story stops being about celebrity drama and starts being about human fear, which is why insiders warn this isn't a one-off scandal that fades after a news cycle. This is the kind of story that grows over time. Because once one voice is validated, others begin to test the waters. Quietly, carefully, through intermediaries, through off-the-record conversations, and insiders claim that's already happening. Not lawsuits yet, not public accusations, but movement. And movement scares systems built on silence, because when silence breaks, the question stops being what happened and becomes who knew. And that's when the real panic begins. Because power doesn't fall when accusations appear, it falls when credibility shifts. And insiders say that shift is already underway. The audience is no longer asking why Aubrey spoke up. They're asking why she was ignored. And that single change flips the entire narrative. No shouting required, no spectacle needed, just time and truth and patience. And insiders say this story isn't finished, it's only entering its most uncomfortable phase. The phase where nothing new has to be revealed, because what's already been said is enough to demand answers. Emails, pressure, isolation, NDAs, fear. Those aren't rumors, those are patterns. And once a pattern is visible, it can't be unseen. So as the industry holds its breath, insiders are watching closely, not for the next headline, but for the next voice brave enough to confirm what so many already suspect. Because if this much surfaced accidentally, the truth isn't done surfacing yet. And when it does, it won't whisper, it will detonate.